Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you here again for another class of astrology. And what we will do tonight is we went through all the different aspects of astrology, but just to make sure that I'm not fooling you, we're going to look at the text inside, right? Because till now you could have said, Acoca just invented it and it doesn't really exist. Where does it say it? So I'm sharing with you what the Gemara says, the Talmud in Masechet Tractate Shabbat. In the end of Tractate Shabbat, the Gemara speaks about astrology and about some ideas that we already covered. And we'll look inside the text, analyze it a little bit, and have a discussion if you'd like. You have the text, I gave you the text, it's in English. I do have it in Hebrew and in English, and I'll read Hebrew, English, translate, and you could follow along in the English. So, the Gemara says the following: K'tiva fin kased Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. It was written in Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi's notebook. Haiman de bechad b'Shabbat, he who is born on Sunday, Yehe gevar velo chadabe, will be a man of one nature, without one trace of any other nature in him. In other words, he's going to be either one way or another way, black or white. It's not going to be a gray area. That's what the Gemara says about someone who is born on a Sunday. And the reason for that is, as Rashi explains, and he says the following. He says that what happened on the first day, there was light and darkness that was created. And therefore, when it's light and darkness, there's no gray area. Either it's light or either it's black. The same way with someone who's born on a Sunday. If someone is born on a Sunday, he's going to be someone who is going to be either good or evil. Okay, that's what the Gemara says about a Sunday person. Now the Gemara does explain the statement the following way. The Gemara says, "My velo anabe." What does it mean without one trace of any other nature in him? Ilema velo adletivu. If you'll tell me that what it means that without one trace of goodness, so then we have a case of Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi has said, I was born on a Sunday, and obviously Rav Ashi was a great scholar, so he was born on a Sunday. So does it mean he was bad or good? Elala, the Gemara says no. What it means is Hada lebishu. What it does mean so that it's going to be someone who is going completely bad, evil. Rav Ashi said, Ana vedimi bar kakusta havyan behad b'Shabbat. I and Dimi bar kakusta were both born on a Sunday. Ana melech vehu averesh galave. Here's the difference between us. I am a king, I became a king, which means I became the head of the academy, the Rosh Yeshiva, and he became the head of the gangsters, of the thieves. So what's going on? Gemara says, Ela, ikulet letivo, ikulet lebishu. Gemara concludes and says, either someone is going to be all good, or without any trace of bad, or all bad without any trace of good. And again, it has to do with the fact that Sunday was the day that everything was created, the light and darkness were created, and therefore there's no gray area. Okay, the Gemara says that my ta'ama, what's the reason? Because on Sunday, the first day of creation, light and darkness were created. Okay, the Gemara continues on. Haiman de batre b'Shabbat. If someone is born on a Monday, he will be an angry man. Right? Give me someone who's going to have a lot of anger. What is the reason for that? Because on Monday of creation of the world was water, the waters were divided. And therefore there's a division. And if there is a division, it means that there is a mahloket. There is divisiveness. There is a disagreement. So therefore, if someone is born on a Monday, he's going to have this tendency of always arguing with other people, of getting angry, right? If he's with people, he's going to get angry, he's going to get upset. Now, by the way, just I'm going to emphasize it. We emphasized that before, and we'll emphasize it again. Even though if someone is born on a Sunday or on a Monday and he has these tendencies towards these character traits, it does not mean that you cannot change it. This is actually, the Gemara is pointing out those different character traits that the person will have in order for the person to work on himself and to change himself, right? To grow, to become a better person. So this is just what his tendencies are, and of course you could always change them.
So what does it say here? It says on the second day of the week he will be bad-tempered.
Yes.
So what does it say in Aramaic? It says.
Oh, in Aramaic it says, "Yi gevar ragzan." Ragzan is someone mitrages, someone who gets upset. He eats up very, very
So
quick.
could it mean that he's sort of internally sort of like conflicted?
Yes. Yes.
So he's divided in himself.
He is divided in himself. Exactly. He's divided in himself the same way that creation of the world there was a division, right, in nature. So the same thing with this person. He's going to be someone who will have this inner divisiveness, and therefore he's going to express it as well to other people. Okay. Ayman di Bitlata b'Shabbat. He was born on a Tuesday. Yehe Gevar Atir. He's going to be a wealthy man. Vizana Yehe, and he will be a promiscuous man. Why? The Gemara says, "My ta'ama." What's the reason? Mishum de ibru be'asabim, because on Tuesday of creation, herbage was created, and therefore Rashi explains that the following way. Rashi says that herbs, first of all, grow at any time of year. So this person, it's not like trees that you have a certain season, summer or winter, depends on the tree, it depends on the fruit, right? When it comes to herbs, it's all year. So this person, whatever he's going to do in life, is going to be successful. Any business that is going to take, like the herbs that grow everywhere, the same thing with this person, is going to be anything that is going to touch or deal with, is going to have tendencies to succeed. But at the same time, he has to remember, the same way that herbs grow everywhere, he's going to have this tendency of being an immoral person, going everywhere, going to places that he's not supposed to go, being with people that he's not supposed to be, and so on and so forth. Because of the tendencies of this creation, because he's born on Yom Shlishi, on a Tuesday. Ayman de Be'arba'a b'Shabbat, he was born on a Wednesday. Yehi Gevar Hakim Venahir. He will be a wise and radiant man. Okay? My Ta'ama, what's the reason? Mishum de Itle Meorot, because on Wednesday of creation the luminaries were set in place, the sun and the moon. Okay, and we're talking about the sun, right? The sun that gives light to the entire world. So the same thing with this person. He's going to be someone who is going to bring light. Whenever he's going to be in a place, in a room, there's going to be a certain aura that he's going to have. And that means as well, he's going to be someone who's spiritual. He's going to have tendencies to become a spiritual person. He's going to be someone who would want to become a holy person. Okay, because of this tendency of light, of all. The light also presents, of course, spirituality. But it says Torah or, that the Torah is light. Right? The light represents the light of Torah, and therefore if someone is born on a Wednesday, he will have again this tendency of becoming spiritual, of wanting to grow spiritual. Okay. Hayman de Behamsha b'Shabbat, who is born on a Thursday, Yehe Gevar Gomer Hasadim, will be a man who performs deeds of kindness. He's going to be a kind man. My Ta'ama, what's the reason? Mishum Ibrube Dagim Ve'ofod, because on Thursday of creation, fish and fowl were created, and therefore, who provides for the fish and fowl? God. God is Gomer Hasadim, right? They find food almost everywhere, because God provides them with that. The same thing with the person who's born on Thursday. He's going to be someone who will always want to help, to provide, to be kind, to share whatever he has, even if he doesn't have a lot. He's going to always share and show kindness and compassion, mercy towards other people, towards other creatures, whatever God created. Hayman de Ben Ba'ale Shabta, he was born on a Friday. Yehe Gevar Hadran will be and a studious man. Someone who's going to be always running and doing and not stopping. Why? Because on Friday, what do we do usually? Usually all the time. We prepare for Shabbat. Prepare for Shabbat, you have to wake up, you have to cook, you have to go, you have to buy. It doesn't stop till sometimes the last minute, a few minutes before Shabbat, the candles are not ready. The same thing, if someone is born on a Friday, is going to be someone who is going to be always running after doing something, doing mitzvot, doing good deeds. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says the following: Hazran b'mitzvot is going to be as serious in the pursuit of mitzvot. So he's very, very specific. Why? Because again, it's the idea of preparing for Shabbat, right? The Gemara says, Mi shetarach be'erev Shabbat yochal be'Shabbat. Whoever was assiduous on Erev Shabbat on Friday is going to eat on Shabbat. The idea of always running to do this mitzvah of preparing for Shabbat. The same thing, someone is born on a Friday, is going to be someone who is going to be running always after mitzvot, after good deeds, to do the best he can to help other people, to help himself, to help the community, and to qualify outside. Okay. Hayman de Beshabtai, if someone's born on Shabbat, so then Yehe Beshabtai Yamut. Okay, he's going to, if someone is born on Shabbat, he's going to also die on Shabbat. Al de'achilu aloi yomar rabba de Shabbat. Since they had to desecrate the great day of Shabbat on his behalf, how do we desecrate Shabbat on his behalf? If someone is born on Shabbat, obviously, the mother who had this baby had to go to the hospital or whatever it is. There's a lot of violations of Shabbat that take place, and obviously we could do it on Shabbat in order to for this baby to be born. So therefore, because of that, the Gemara says that if someone is born on Shabbat, there's a possibility he's going to die on Shabbat as well. Now the Maharil speaks about it, and he says that not necessarily. I mean, we know people who are born on Shabbat and not necessarily die on Shabbat. So the Gemara says that this is a possibility that's going to happen, but there's other factors. Sometimes it could be demerits, because by the way, if someone dies on Shabbat, it's a great zechut, it's a great merit to die on Shabbat, because it's the day of rest. So in a sense, the neshama is going back to the heavens on the day of rest, which is a great zechut, it's a great merit for a person to do that on Shabbat. But again, the Maharil explains that it's not necessarily true, that if someone is born on Shabbat, is going to as well die on Shabbat. All depends. Every case could be different, but there is a possibility. Now, Amar Rava bar Rav Shila, Rav Shila said, "V'kadisha Rabba yitkere, and he shall be called a great and holy man." This person who is born on Shabbat has the potential of becoming a pious man. Why? Because since he was born on the day of Shabbat, which is the holy day, so he's going to again be open to spirituality, to holiness, because of the energy he got by being born on Shabbat.
No, he himself will be in Allah. Was created.
Right, so therefore, it's a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing to be born. Yeah, yeah. There's different opinions when he's going to be born exactly, but there's a possibility that he's going to be born on Shabbat as well. Okay, now Rabbi Hanina comes and he puts a different twist into all the constellations and everything else. So it says, Amar Lehu Rabbi Hanina. Rabbi Hanina said to the students who were reading this notebook, Puku emaru le bar Levi, go and tell the son of Levi, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, the one who had this notebook where everything was written, Lo mazal yom gorem, it is not the celestial sign of the day that influences the person, the man's nature, ela mazal sha'a gorem. He said, Rabbi Hanina's opinion was different. It wasn't the day, but rather it was the hour of one's birth. Okay? So the hour of one's birth, how does it work? We'll see in a minute. We spoke about it last time. We'll repeat it again. Hayman de Behama. he was born during the hour of the sun. As we know, we'll see that there are 7 different constellations. Okay, the first one is the sun. Okay, and now how does it work, by the way? As we explained last time, right, there are 7 of them. So what you do is, on Sunday, you start with the sun, you go through the 7, and then after the cycle of 7, what happens? You start again from constellation number 1, you go to 7. So in one day, you have how many cycles? 3 cycles, and then you have 21 hours, you have 3 hours left, and you start again with the first constellation, and then that's the way it goes for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So the Gemara says the following: he was born during the hour of the sun. Yehe Givar Ziftan will be a person of lustrous appearance. Again, it's going to be someone who is going to shine. People are going to know that this person is in. There's going to be a certain awe when this person will be around. He will be someone who will eat from his own food and drink from his own beverages. In other words, it's going to be someone who's going to be self-sustaining. He won't need anyone to help him get his parnasa, his livelihood. And the reason is because since he's born under the constellation of sun, the sun illuminates the whole world, gives energy to the whole world, and he will be able to bring energy or livelihood for himself, and in many cases to other people as well, because he's born under the constellation of Hama, of sun. Verazoi Galyan, but his secrets will be revealed to all. Im Ganiv lo Maslah. Now the Gemara teaches us something interesting. If he's going to attempt to steal, he will not be successful. So if someone is born under the constellation of Hama, sun, it's not a good idea for him to be a thief. Okay. Why? Because the same way that the sun, when the sun is up, do we know that the sun is up? Obviously, it's obvious. We see it, we feel it. Same thing with this person. This person, everything that he will do will be known to everyone. So therefore, it's important to know that if someone is born under this constellation of the sun, he will have to take some, have some privacy, because if not, everyone will know what is going on in his life. Okay? Now, by the way, how do we calculate that? We spoke about it last time, but let's remind ourselves. How do we calculate how do we start the first day, Sunday, the sun, and so on and so forth? It starts with the sunrise. According to Jewish tradition, the day starts at sunrise. So if someone, for example, is born on Sunday in December, it's not the same way that if someone is born on Sunday in June or in July. Why? Because the sunrise in December is much later than the sunrise in June or July. And therefore, whatever the sunrise is, starts the day, and with the start of the day, start the first constellation. Okay, so that's important to remember. That is why if someone wants to find out under which constellation he was born, he has to find out the day, and he has to find out as well the time that he was born, and according to this to calculate when exactly, under which constellation he or she was born. Okay. Now the Gemara says, "Ay man de bekochav noga." He was born during the hour of the planet Venus. Yehe gevar atir vezana yehe, will be a wealthy man and will be a promiscuous man. Maita'ama, what's the reason? Mishum di yirid benura, because the fire of passion burns in it, in the constellation of Venus. This planet is associated with fire, and therefore fire represents also lust. So if someone is born under that constellation, he will have the tendency to be someone who is going to be attracted to lust, to things that are inappropriate, that are forbidden. And therefore a person will have to be careful with that. Hayman de Bekocha, he was born during the hour of Mercury. Yehe Gevar Mehir Hakim, will be a radiant and wise man. Mishum de Safra de Amahu, because Mercury is the secretary, which means the constant companion of the sun. It goes together with the sun, the Gemara says, and therefore, if someone is born under Mercury is going to be someone who is going to have this light, who is going to be a wise man, because it's going to take the light, takes the light from the sun. It's next to the sun, so he's going to have this tendency to learn, to understand, to appreciate, and to grow through that. Hayman di Bilvana, if he's born during the hour of the moon, Yehe Givar Savil Mer'in, he will be a man who suffers afflictions. Banai Vesatir, he's going to be someone who is going to build and is going to raise, destroy. Satiru Banai, raise and build. Achil Delo Dile Veshati Delo Dile, he will have to eat food that doesn't belong to him, drink and beverages that that he doesn't own, that don't belong to him. Verazoi Kasyan, but his secrets will remain concealed in Ganav Matzlach, and if he's going to be a thief, he's going to be extremely successful. Okay? Why? Because it's the moon, and therefore the moon, right, compared to the sun, it's very small. We know the famous Midrash, the moon and the sun, where when Kadosh Baruch Hu, when God created the moon and the sun, they had the same strength or energy of light. And finally, the moon said to the sun, it can't be that we're going to have the same type or the same energy of light. And when God heard that, he said, since you spoke that way, the sun will have more light, more energy than the moon. And therefore, if someone is born under the constellation of moon, since the moon is the energy is taken from the sun, so therefore it's going to be someone who's going to always not feel good about what he is doing, and therefore because of that he will build, he will destroy. It's not going to be something that is going to be he will be able to keep for a long time. And also the fact is the moon is concealed compared to the sun. Because of that, the actions of this person will be concealed as well. And if he's going to be a thief, no one will know about it. He's going to be very, very extremely successful. Now, it does mean in any way that if someone is born under that, he should become a thief. But the fact is, Gemara does mention that, just to give us the example, the idea that if someone is born under the moon, he's going to be someone who's going to be very private. Not too many people will know about his or her life. Hayman de Beshabtai, if someone is born under during the hour of Saturn, Yehe Gevar Mehashavte Betelin, will be a man whose every plan comes to naught. Okay? Ve'id de Amrein, some say, Koli Mehashvin Ale Betelin. Every plan that is plotted against him will come to naught, will not be able to take place. Why? Because of the fact Shabtai comes from the word Shabbat, to rest. Okay? And therefore, if someone is born under Shabtai, he's going to be someone who always wants to rest. He doesn't want to work too much. He wants to take life easy, have a nice beer, go to the bar, whatever it is, and whatever, and whatever. God will provide. Right? But the fact is, it's not good, obviously. So if someone is born under Saturn, which is again Shabbat, it comes from rest. You should know how to be harut, to be zealous, and to build something and to do something to change this nature that he has. Hayman de Betzedek, if someone is born during the hour of Jupiter, Yehe Gevar Tarkan, will be a man of rectitude, someone who always wants to rectify, wants to bring justice to himself and to the entire world. Why? Because of the word Tzedek. Okay? Tzedek is Jupiter, but as well it is justice. So he's going to be someone who is going to want to repair the entire world, which is great. But at the same time, some people who are born under Tzedek are too idealistic. They really want to repair the whole entire world, and they can't, right? The fact is, it says, Gemara speaks about Bishvili Nivra Olam, the person has to always know that the world was created for him. Okay? But at the same time, לא עליך המלאכה לגמור ולא אתה יכול להיפטר ממנו. Right? Gemara says that a person cannot say that I have to finish or I have to improve the entire world, but at the same time, he definitely has an obligation to make a difference. Okay? So if someone is born under tzedek, he will have this ideology or philosophy to repair the entire world, that this is not good. He'll have to know when to stop and to know his limitations, and at the same time definitely bring some justice to the community, to the world. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says something interesting. It says, "V'tzadkan b'mitzvot." That means that he will be a man of rectitude regarding mitzvot. He will be charitable. Why? Because again, tzedek comes from justice, but also comes from tzedakah, right? Charity. If someone is born under Jupiter, he's going to be someone who is going to always be generous, try to be charitable with other people, with other individuals. Haiman de Me'adim. If someone is born during the hour of Mars, Yehe Gevar Ashid Dema, will be a man who spills blood. Why? Because Me'adim, Mars, Me'adim in Hebrew comes from the word dam, which is blood, and therefore going to be someone who is going to always have this tendency to see blood. Now the Gemara explains this and says the following: Rabbi Ashi explains. It says, "You'll have a choice whether he's going to become a bloodletter or a thief or a shochet or a mohen." Okay, a thief, Rashi explains, is going to be someone, a thief, not just any regular thief who goes and steals, but someone who's going to have a gun or a knife who's going to kill people in order to steal. Okay, so the idea is, we see, by the way, from this Gemara, that that's where the choice comes. That if someone is born under a certain constellation, he can't say to himself, since I was born under that constellation, that's it, everything is already written in Shamayim, in the heavens, I can't change myself. It doesn't mean that at all. Because we see from someone who's born under the constellation of Mars, even though he's going to be drawn to blood, it could be something that is positive. He could become a doctor, he could save people's lives, he could become a moed, he could become a shochet, whatever. There's many things that you could do that are positive with being drawn to blood. Okay? And this is where the choice of the person comes. And that's what the Rabbah says. Rabbah says, Amar Rabbah, Rabbah said, Ana b'ma'adim have. I was born during the hour of Mars, and yet I'm not a spiller of blood. Okay? Amar Abaye, Abaye said to him, Mar nami anish v'katir. No, but still, the fact is, you have also punished and killed. How did you punish and kill? The fact is, you were a dayan, you were in the bed din. Being on the bed din, sometimes there used to be capital punishments, and this is the way that, in a sense, you were drawn to blood by giving capital punishments to people and taking away their life, killing them. Okay?
But even in the capital punishment, most of the time they were stoned. Is there any other death by capital punishment?
It depends. I mean, there's different. Yeah, there's either stoning, there is right, there's hanging. Right, but there was
Anything?
That, even with stoning, you would see a lot of blood.
Yeah.
definitely.
Because they threw them off the cliff, right? So.
Right.
But wasn't it with Rabbah, it was related to a specific incident where he...
Oh, exactly. Right. So Rashi says also there's another case where Rabbah, right? There was a famous case in Masechet Megillah where Rabbah, Abaye and Rabbah, right? They were once, Rabbah invited Abaye over for the Seudah, the meal, Purim meal, and Rabbah really got intoxicated, got really high, and he got up, and what did he do? He killed Abaye. He killed him. And therefore, when he realized what he did, the Gemara says, a few hours later or the next day he realized that he killed him, he had the ability to bring him back to life. That's what the Gemara says. And there are different ways of understanding the Gemara. There was exactly what happened. Some say it was on a higher level, it wasn't really that he killed them. But the fact is, Rashi does bring that and he says, you see that even Rabbah, since he was drawn to blood, once at least in his life, he went through this action of killing someone. Okay. The Gemara continues on and says, Itmar, it was stated, Rabbi Hanina says, Mazal Mahkim, the celestial sign of one's birth, determines intelligence. Mazal Ma'ashir, it also determines wealth. V'yesh Mazal Israel, and therefore, Rabbi Hanina's point is, and his opinion is, that Yesh Mazal Yisrael, that the celestial signs hold sway even over the Jewish people, which means that we are controlled by these signs. Obviously, we spoke about it, I think it was the first or second class, that really it's God who's controlling and He's sending signs, He's sending messages through those signs. It's not the signs that are controlling, it's God that's in control, and He's sending all these messages through the signs. But Rabbi Hanina's point is that God is sending these messages through the signs, and that's it. We can't change that. This is his opinion. Rabbi Yochanan says, "En mazal Yisrael." No, actually, we are above, as Jews, we are above the celestial signs, and we are not controlled by those signs. As the Rabbi Yochanan le'tameh, Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan follows his own reasoning. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, because Rabbi Yochanan said, "Minayin she'en mazal Yisrael." How do we know that the Jewish people don't have this mazal, right? Because it says, "Shene'emar, ko amar Hashem el derech hagoyim al tilmedu." Hashem said, "Do not adopt the way of the nations." "Umotot hashamayim al techatu ki yechatu hagoyim mehema," and do not fear the signs of the heavens, for the nations fear them. Hem yechatu. So the Gemara, so he learns from that the nations should fear them, but Jews should not fear them. Why? Because we are above all this idea of mazalot. This is Rabbi Yochanan's point. Now Rav, we'll see in a moment, also holds that en mazal Yisrael. Rav savar en mazal Yisrael, and Rav too holds that there's no celestial signs hold no sway over Israel. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, "Minayin she'en mazal Yisrael." From where do we know that we don't hold of the celestial signs when it comes to Israel? Shneimar, as it says, "Vayotze oto achutza," a famous pasuk, a famous verse, where God takes Avraham Avinu outside, and what does He tell him? Amar Avraham b'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Avraham said in front of God, he told them, "Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, ben beti yoresh oti." My steward inherits me, which means who is going to be? It's going to be Eliezer. Okay? And Eliezer was the servant of Avraham, because Avraham didn't have children. And God tells them, Amar lo, God tells them, "Love, no. Only the one who shall come forth from within you shall inherit you." What does it mean exactly? Amar lefanav shel shalom. So Avraham, again, he converses with Hashem, and he tells them, "Master of the universe, I've already consulted my astrology, and really I saw that I can't have a child, a son." Amarle, so God told them, "Go outside of your astrology." In other words, when God was taking him out, He was telling him, get out of this astrology. Why? Because as an Ivri, as a Hebrew, as a Jew, you are above the astrological signs. Everything could change if I, God, want it to change. Why? She'en mazal Yisrael, because the celestial signs hold no sway over Israel. My datech. So therefore he told them, what do you suppose? The Kai Tzedek b'Ma'arav, that Jupiter, that usually when you're born under Jupiter, and it's situated in the west, and therefore what I'm going to do, I will simply move it around and situate it in the east. Why? What's the difference between the west and the east? The fact is, the west is a cold place, the east is a hot place. A hot place represents someone who could have children. And therefore what he was telling Abraham, even though you were born under Tzedek, Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the west, and according to that you will not be able to have any children, I'm going to remove it to the east. East represents heat, and therefore even though according to what you saw you are correct, you can't have a child, I decided that you're going to have a child. So therefore we learn from that that en mazal Israel, that Jews are above all this idea of consolation. It could change. Okay? And the Gemara will prove it from I believe it's three different stories, where we see that as Jews, our mazal, our constellation, our future could change because of actions that we do. The Gemara says the following: "Umidishmuel nami en mazal Israel," and we learn also from Shmuel that the signs don't hold, have no sway over Israel. Why? The Shmuel ve'avlat havu yatvik. Because Shmuel and Avlat was one sitting. Shmuel was a great scholar, Jewish scholar, and Avlat was a Gentile, a very wise man who was an astrologer. And someone were going to the swamp to cut weeds. Amar le Avlet le Shmuel. So Avlet said to Shmuel, Hai Gavra Azil Veloati. This man, you see this man? He's going to go and he's not going to come back. He's going to die. Tariq le Halhiva Umait. A snake will bite him and he will die. Amar le, this is the astrologer speaking, he saw the future. Amar le Shmuel. Shmuel answered Avlat, and what did he tell him? Ibar Israel hu. If he is a Jew, Azil ve'ateh, he will go and come back. Interesting to note that the Ben Ish Chai asked a question. He says, when Shmuel told them if he's a Jew, he's going to come back alive. Maybe he's a Jew. He didn't know that he was a Jew. He said at that time, everyone knew them who was Jewish. The fact is, I mean, you had a sign to all the community, Jewish community, had signs to show that they were Jewish. They had their payot, they had everything. So he knew he was a Jew. So why did he say, if he's a Jew, he's going to come back alive? He knew that he was Jewish. So he explains and he says that actually there's a deeper meaning to it, and what Shmuel was doing is, he was he saw that really this man, there's a possibility he's going to die. Okay? And therefore, Israel, says the Ben Ish Chai, you could divide the word and it could be Shir El. Okay, which means the praise of God. He was praising God at that moment. In a sense, he was praying on behalf of this Jew that he's going to come back alive. Okay. Anyways, Adyat ve'i Azil ve'ate. While Shmuel and Avlat were sitting there, the man went and came back alive. He was alive. Kam Avlat shagir etune. Avlat stood up and threw off the man's pack of reeds. He found amid the reeds a snake that had been cut into two pieces. When this man was cutting the reeds, at the same time what happened, he cut this snake that was about to bite him, and he killed the snake. So Shmuel said to the man, "My avatar, what did you do? You see the snake was about to kill you, but it didn't happen. What did you do? Did you do something?" Amarle, he said to him, every day we all throw our bread together in one basket and eat it. Okay, so there's people, there's workers, everyone eats together, they throw their all the bread, whatever they are, into one basket. Today it happened to be that one of the men didn't have any bread. Okay, so therefore, he was going to be embarrassed. Everyone is going to throw the piece of bread. He's not going to throw it. He's going to be embarrassed. Amina lehu, I told them all, Anaka inna ve'amina, I'm going to get up and collect the bread today. Why? In order not to embarrass this man. Kimatai legabe, when I reach this person, Shavai nafshe kiman de shakimine, I pretended to take something from him, in order not to embarrass him. And it was the action of not embarrassing someone, stakam in a sense. Okay. He saved him from embarrassment in front of all the people. And Therefore, because of that, Amar le Shmuel then told him, Mitzvah avad, you have done a good deed. Nafak Shmuel v'darash, and Shmuel came out after he saw this great miracle that happened, and he said, it's Tzedakah tatzil mimavet, a very famous statement that the Gemara says many times, that charity saves from death, because this person was saved from death through the charity that he did with that man. Okay. This is one story. Second story, with Rabbi Akiva Nami and Mazal Yisrael. We find also from Rabbi Akiva. What do we find from Rabbi Akiva and Mazal Yisrael? That Israel, again, above the Mazalot. Why? The Rabbi Akiva Havia Bata. Rabbi Akiva had a daughter, a very famous story. Amrile Kaldai. The astrologers told him. Okay. By the way, Rabbi Akiva was familiar with some astrologers. It's important to note that we can't, as we said first time we started the class, we said that we're not allowed to go to an astrologer and ask for our future. Even though some astrologers, the real astrologers, could tell us part of our future, not all our future. There's no one in the world who could tell us all our future. God is the one who knows that. But part of it, definitely they could, and we believe in that. Whether a Jew or non-Jew doesn't make any difference. If someone has the real science of astrology, he's able to relate some of our future. But the fact is, we're not allowed to go. In this case, it's not Rabbi Akiva who went and asked the future of his daughter. Some astrologers came to him and told him that. And we spoke about that if an astrologer or someone who's familiar with us and he comes to us and he tells us, you know what, don't take this plane on that day. It's not that we asked him to tell us that. And we went out of our way to ask if I should take the plane on Thursday or not. But the fact is, he saw us one day somewhere and he told us, no, I see that you're going to take this plane. I see something happening, don't take the plane. We could believe that. Because if it's a true astrologer, there's definitely some truth in what he says. So in this case, the astrologers told Rabbi Akiva, it's not Rabbi Akiva who went to them, and they told them, the day your daughter enters the bridal chamber, a snake will bite her and she will die. Rabbi Akiva was extremely worried over this matter. On the day of her wedding, she took her brooch. There was like they used to have at that time, the women at that time, in order to put their hair together, they used to have like a big safety pin or a big pin in their hair. That's the beguda, and stuck it in the wall. And it happened that when she did so, the needle lodged into the eye of the snake, killing it. Letzafra, and by the way, at that time it was dark, she didn't see what happened. Letzafra, kikashaklale, in the morning, when she took the brooch out of the wall, the dead snake followed, stuck fast to the brooch. Amar Lahu, her father saw Rabbi Akiva. I guess he didn't sleep the whole night because he was worried about his daughter, what's going to happen to her. Told him, my avad, what did you do? What you have done? But Amar Aleh, she said to him the following, in the afternoon, a pauper came and he called out from the doorway. All the people were busy, bis'udata, in the wedding banquet, and no one heard him. What did I do? I took my portion of food and I gave it to this poor man. Therefore, Amar La, Rabbi Akiva said to her, mitzvah avat, you did a great mitzvah, mitzvah of tzedakah, nafak Rabbi, and that's what saved your life. Nafak Rabbi Akiva v'darash. Rabbi Akiva went out and expounded with tzedakah tatzil mimavet, that charity could save someone's life, and this will save from death, and this is what happened to the daughter of Rabbi Akiva. So this is the second story. So with two first stories, we see the idea of tzedakah, how tzedakah is important to the point that it saves someone's life. Now, why tzedakah? Why charity? Because the fact is, let's think about it. Let's analyze for a minute charity. When someone is giving charity, he is helping someone else to sustain himself. The same way that he's helping someone else to live, God also gives them another chance to live, gives them life. Okay, because he's giving life to someone else, so God is giving life. It's midah measure for measure. Now the third story is a little bit different than the first and the second story. In the Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak Nami en Mazal Yisrael, we find out also from Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak that en Mazal Yisrael, that there is no Mazal to Israel, to the Jewish people. The immediate Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak Amullah Chadai, because the astrologers told Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak, the mother of Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak, she told him, Brech Ganavahav, your son will be a thief. Okay. So what did she do? Lo shafkate giluye reshe. She never allowed him to uncover his head. Why? What does that have to do with anything? Because as we know, when someone covers his head, right? It's the idea that he is in awe. You remember that there's a God, right? Kippah is called also a yamaka. Why is it called a yamaka? Yamaka is yareme eloka. Someone who is in awe of Almighty, of God. So therefore, since she knew there's a possibility he's going to become a thief because of what the astrologer said, she made sure that his head will never be uncovered. It's not going to be uncovered. He's going to have the Achamayim, the awe of the heavens of God, and therefore he's not going to steal. Amrale, so she told them, cover your head so that the fear of heaven should be upon you. Now the question, some Mufarshim, some commentators ask the question, they say, what do you mean? Cover your head, why they weren't covering their head at that time. So they said that some of the commentators say that the scholars or the elderly people used to cover their hair, but for children to cover their head was not as common as it is today, for example. So she made sure that her son will always cover his head. And another thing she told them is, Ubaya Rahame, and pray for God's mercies that the evil inclination should not dominate you. So this is what she told her son. Because she didn't tell him that, you know what, you're going to maybe become a thief. She didn't want to tell him that. Just cover your head, pray, and God will help. Now, Lohavi Yada Amai Ka'amrave. He never knew why she told him this. Yom Echad, one day, Yativ Kagaris Tute Dikla, he sat studying under a palm tree, Nafal Glima Me'ilave Reshe, and the cloak fell off his head. Dali Ene Hazal Dikla, Gemara says he lifted his eyes and he saw the palm. Al Meitzre, his evil inclination overpowered him, and what did he do? Salik Paskele Kibura Beshine, and he went up and chopped off a cluster of dates with his teeth, right? Because he had the tendency of being a thief. Okay, so what do we learn from that? And this is the end of the Gemara. We definitely covered more than that, but the fact is, we see that the Gemara is pretty clear, and for us, it's a lesson that I think it's important to know what is our mazal, what is our constellation, when were we born, the day, the time, and so on and so forth, in order for us to know what our character traits are, what our tendencies are, and with that in mind, to know what our strong points are and to try to express them and to share them and so on and so forth, and what our weak points are as well, in order for us to be able to work on that. And in no way, again, someone could say, you know what, I was born under this mazal, this constellation, and that's it, I can't change myself. Not at all. Contrary, it's good to know that in order to be able to change, to grow, to express, to share, because it's a great tool that God created, and many times God will send us messages who, as was proven, through all these mazalot, all these signs. Any questions? It's pretty clear.
I just had a question about a translation. It was at the beginning part, you said something like those words zchut.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Zchut merit.
Okay.
Yeah.
of next month we learn safety material.
Okay, so by the way, just I'm open to any suggestions if you have. You can write them on a piece of paper or share them with you, share them with the class on what you want to learn next. I'm open. I don't know if I'll be able to cater to all your requests, but I'm definitely open to suggestions about anything that you have in mind that you want to learn. Some ideas, one idea could be if you would like to learn about certain rabbinic figures, learn about Rabbi Akiva, if you like this. Rabbi Akiva was probably, I could give 7 to 10 classes on Rabbi Akiva with his life. If you want to learn about Sephardic sages, open, if you want to open something else, whatever you are interested in, I'm open to suggestions. Either now, or if you want to think about it, email me, Facebook me, message me, whatever it is.
So how does it all, like, so how would you figure out, like, if I ever found out what time I was actually born at?
Right.
But, like, how do you know, because, like, when, like, did this all start, like, the time, is like, just because I was born at, let's just say, like, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily, like, how do you figure out what constellation you're in?
Oh, so depending on the time of year, as we said, for example, if
Halachic time, right?
Huh?
Halachic time.
Halachic time, yeah, 100%. So let's say Sunday sunrise was 6:30 a.m. So then you start 6:30 a.m. from the first constellation, which is Hama, the sun. Okay, and then from 6:30 to 7:30, then 7:30 to 8:30, the second, then 7:30, then 8:30 to 9:30, the third, and then you'll be able to know, according to that, when you were.
Then does it reset every day? Because, like, there's 20, like, depending on how many hours there are for sun, like the cycles, there's
Yes.
7 plus 3.
Yes,
So then the next day starts at 4.
exactly.
So that's like, how do you, that's why I'm asking, so how do you,
So that again, if
so
you,
like, does it begin, and like start all over at the beginning of the week then? It starts,
yes,
oh, so like Sunday it starts again, like.
exactly,
Oh, okay,
exactly,
okay,
yes.
that I understand then.
I
Right.
think there's a chart, I read a chart somewhere in some book, so I'll scan it in and send it on the Facebook.
That's great. That's great.
Like, when did it start? If it just continually goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, but if it resets every week, then.
It does.
Okay,
So
that's-
what's
There's,
24, what's
so I
24
understand.
times 7?
It's the allotted time for where you were born, or is it?
Correct.
allotted-
Correct. Where you were born.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like, if you're basing it on, you know, dawn, you have, or sunrise.
Right.
You have to be where you.
Definitely.
What about if you're born in space?
Oh, man.
That's
Born
a
in
good
space.
question.
It hasn't happened yet.
Do you know someone who was born in space?
But one day will happen.
Then when it will happen, we'll talk about it. I don't know. Wow.
So,
Yeah.
obviously, we know this is the word because Pluto is in here.
Right.
We're more advanced.
Right. Well,
That's true.
it's an interesting point. It's an interesting point. That's true. In why is Pluto in all this? I guess either you could say that. What is it?
Confused.
Yeah.
You also born another planet.
What? Pluto?
So it's 8, there's 8 cycles.
Did you ever see someone that wants another
No,
planet?
that's you know, there's a
Eight cycles
there's
is
a
21.
region on the moon. Easily somebody can be born on the moon. But we don't know.
Never didn't happen yet.
Yeah, I'm sure once it happens, you know.
Where did they come from on
it's a
Earth?
little-
Where did their family come from? Where's the last city that their family went to?
Right. But then, by the way, there was a question that was asked if an astronaut goes on the moon, and the Jewish astronaut for putting on film, what does it put on film? It's true. It was this was asked already.
Then
I believe Mordechai Eliyahu spoke about. I mean, he was asked about that, and his point was he said you have to go according to the closest place on Earth that is the closest to the moon. I think this is what he responded. You have places that, even in this earth, that you have, for example, Alaska. You have certain times of year that you don't have the end of it's always light. So when do you start Shabbat, when do you finish Shabbat? These questions I have. I mean, there's Chabad in Alaska. What do they do? I have to figure it out. But the fact is, I mean, what they do is, many opinions say that they go according to the closest city that has a sunrise and a sunset.
So it's better not to live there.
I guess not. I guess not. But you have Jews there, so you have to have Chabad. If it's Jews.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bevakasha, thank you very much. So please share with me your thoughts about what you want to learn next. Or next month. Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
what
why-
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it still just gonna be monthly?
If you would like to change it to
Like even every other week or something?
yeah, you sure. That's,
I
I am open.
Forever.
know if you do once a month, it'll be like.
Yeah, I know. I'm open.
So 2 years from now.
I'm open every couple of weeks, and then eventually what we could do is for next year, the Monday class that I have, I could postpone or change it, whatever it is, and we could have it on Monday, and I can have it every week if you like, a weekly Monday class.
Actually, I have this either
Please.
this or the Nevi'im,
Nevi'im, prophets, okay. Okay.
because we have the Haftarah all the time,
Yes.
and most of the time we don't even know
Right.
why it wasn't performed.
Right. Okay. Either way, whatever. But you could let me know now, later.
What about singing class?
Singing class?
Yeah, will be fun.
Go to you wanna sing? I'll send you to I'll send you to
Party or something.
to a coach. I'll send you to a voice lesson teacher. He'll teach you how to open your mouth. And it's no fun.
And you'd sort of be excluding the women anyway.
Right, that's good. That's right.
We have to have an
I
audience.
think that'd be a good thing.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for coming. Anytime.
How's your Tuesday afternoon looking?
Afternoon is like downstairs and teaching every afternoon I teach a few months. So
They changed my schedule.
oh they did?
No. Hashem, I'm having a better schedule. Monday to Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
Fridays off.
Right.
Fridays off.
Right.
So Friday could be on.
Sure. Friday is fine with me. Friday is fine with me.
We'll be texting.
Yes.
I'm gonna retouch music. Everything seems to be following normal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tackle the website now.
Oh. Okay.
This week is gonna be.
Thank you so
And
much.
I have another project.
Oh.
The expulsion of the Jews from Spain.
Yes.
Spain is granting immediate and automatic citizenship.
I just read an article about. I mean, I heard about it before, but I read an article.
I already contacted the.
But did they pass the law? I mean, they were supposed to pass the law, but
The law is already in place. The law is already
they
in
voted
place.
for it.
Yes, the law is already in
Oh,
place.
okay.
There is a procedure that
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
I am going to meet with the honorary consul of Spain in Vancouver to hear about procedures and everything because we have to make justice.
Sure.
And you don't need to live in Spain. I already have all the information. You don't
Yeah.
need to live in Spain. You don't need to pay anything.
Right. Right, I saw that. Right. Yeah, that's good. That's excellent.
So at least a presentation. And yeah, we'll touch base with the website. Everything will be done. There's one thing that I don't know how to do on the website.
What is it?
The
Oh, the sliding
the
sliding
banner.
banner.
That I don't know how to do.
Okay, I'll have to look. If not, I'm going to. You know what? I'll email you the one who built the website, is that good?
Uh-huh.
And you can be in touch with them,
Okay, that's good.
and he'll tell you what to do.
Okay.
We'll send you.
Because all of that, like all the pictures that you send me and everything,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
now it's just to start doing info.
right.
That's it.
And then after that, what you have to do is just the guy who built it, he's going to put it on, yeah, launch it. He's waiting. Huh? Yeah, good.
And Tuesday would be pretty much 3 months.
Mm.
And 26.
How is it?
I mean, she does.
Sounds good. Great to see. Great to see. That's it? Makara? Ah, yeah, big boy. Take care. Bye. Thank you for coming. Okay. Thank you. We have to farewell. No, nothing else. I told you.
Entiendo.